Today I'm going to be discussing vegetarianism, arguments for and against it, and reasons why people choose to follow or oppose vegetarianism. Slaughterhouses are producing more and more meat because humans are consuming more and more meat. Some believe that eating meat is unethical, and as a result, there is an increase in the interest of vegetarianism. Vegetarianism is the practice of abstaining from consuming meat, poultry, and seafood. In one variation of this diet, pescatarianism, only seafood is consumed. Veganism excludes all meat and animal byproducts, such as eggs and dairy. This diet and lifestyle is influenced by many factors such as health, ethics, and economics. This brings us to the question, is it ethical for the human population to consume meat? Some believe that meat is harmful for the environment. The breeding of livestock and poultry causes deforestation and contamination of water and other natural resources. Tropical rainforests in Brazil, Honduras, Costa Rica, and several other countries are being leveled and cleared. This also leads to the creation of carbon dioxide and contributes to global warming. There are approximately 1.3 billion cattle in the world, and about 24% of the Earth's land is occupied by them. Half of the water consumed in the United States is used to grow grain for cattle feed. For every pound of beef, 1 gallon of gasoline is required. Since our food and resources are being used by animals and not humans, many people blame meat and meat consumption for world hunger. Those who oppose vegetarianism believe meat consumption is healthful and humane, and that producing vegetables causes the same amount of environmental problems as producing meat. The production of soy-based proteins, such as tofu and soybeans, can cause the same, if not more, greenhouse gas pollution than the production of meat. In factory farms and slaughterhouses, animals are crammed into filthy, windowless sheds, cages, crates, and other cruel confinement systems. This is done because corporations want to maximize their money. Since animals are cheap but cages are expensive, they try to put as many animals as they can in as little space as possible. Animals in these conditions do not have the luxury of roaming around or even feeling the sunshine on their back. They don't have a chance of starting a family, and their entire lives become focused on the production of goods for humans. Drugs are used to make the animals fatter and stay alive in conditions that could otherwise kill them. They are genetically altered to produce more eggs, milk, or whatever they produce. In many cases, these animals cannot support their own weight, so they become crippled and die. The hormones that are used for meat alter the meat. The humans. In opposition to this, some might say that animals were meant to be eaten. Our ancestors survived by hunting. Humans are superior to other animals, so we can use them as we wish. We have teeth that allow us to eat meat, so we are free to eat meat. To most people, meat tastes good, and they do not want to deprive themselves of this privilege. With all of this knowledge about meat, how do humans justify eating it or not? Some oppose switching to the vegetarian lifestyle because it is more expensive. And this is not always true, but it can be. Most imitation meat and dairy alternatives are more expensive than the actual thing. Basic foods, such as pasta and rice, are affordable, but many people wish to expand their diets with luxury and processed foods. These are the products that are the most expensive, and they are also the most unhealthy. The chemicals in processed foods are unnecessary and can lead to negative long-term effects on health. Eating meat all the time is not healthy, but eating it in moderation can be. Adopting a vegetarian diet can be healthy or unhealthy, depending on what you eat. Fruits, vegetables, and beans are often affordable and cheap when purchased in bulk. Many meals that require meat take a long time to prepare and cook the meat, while many vegetarian meals, such as salads, only take a short time to be prepared. It depends on the person paying for and preparing the meal. Personally, I spent 4 months of my life being pescatarian. I became pescatarian to try and stop animal cruelty and prevent environmental problems, but I also did it for myself. When I consume meat, my body feels heavier and I have less energy, so I try to eat meat at a minimum. It was difficult for me to maintain that diet because everyone else in my family ate meat and they didn't think I was getting enough protein. And also it was hard for me to get groceries because as a teenager I don't control the grocery shopping. I wasn't as healthy as I wanted to be, and so I decided to go back to eating meat. And although I eat meat now, I try to maintain a healthy lifestyle still and only eat it in moderation. I have nothing against those who eat meat or those who don't. I understand that people do what they want for particular reasons, and most of the time it's personal. But it is interesting to see why they do it. Sometimes authority worship occurs, and people decide whether or not to eat meat based on their religion or what others have told them. The Bible states we shall have dominion over the animals, and some Christians take that to mean that we can use animals however we want, including eating meat. However, the Bible states other things, such as we shall not get tattoos, work on Sundays, get remarried after divorce, have rounded haircuts, or consult physics, which includes palm readings and horoscopes. Most of us are guilty of doing some of these things, and so it doesn't make sense that we would follow the Bible when it says to eat meat, but not follow it in other aspects. In other religions, things are different. Hindus consider cows to be sacred. They view the animal as a symbol of the earth because it gives so much, yet asks for nothing in return. Cows also symbolize religious sacrifice because the byproducts of cows were once used to make sacrifices. The cow is thought to be God's gift to mankind, and therefore it is sacred. In Buddhism, there are 5 precepts which are the basis of Buddhist morality. The first is to not harm creatures, meaning humans, animals, and even bugs. Buddhists are trying to reach nirvana, and therefore they follow the precepts, and so most Buddhists do not eat meat. There is also the appeal to tradition. Some believe that since our culture accepts eating meat and they have been brought up eating meat, it is okay to eat meat or vice versa. This raises more conflicts because not everything a culture accepts is morally and ethically good. For example, slavery, tarring and feathering, and drawing and quartering were all popular and accepted at some point by society, but that shouldn't justify these practices. So why is meat any different? The claim to eat or not to eat meat based on a religion or tradition is invalid if the religion isn't followed completely. How can we choose to follow one part of religion but disregard other aspects? Ideally, if one is religious, then one should follow all parts of the religion. However, it has become acceptable in some parts of our society to follow religions loosely and not strictly. In conclusion, it is not realistic to try to sway the human population one way or the other, because humans do not adapt well to change. Many people hold strong convictions about eating meat, and they are unlikely to change their ways. However, the meat industry is unethical, and the environmental and health impacts of eating meat are detrimental to animals, our planet, and ourselves as humans. Therefore, it would be beneficial to adapt to vegetarianism.